campers, I'm Lester. No, I am not a city, that's my name. If you're enjoying the music that you're hearing, that's good, because I was the one that made it. Check out my music on SoundCloud, if you feel like it. Shameless plug over. Without further delay, I'm here at gunpoint to introduce this week's Benny Shakes Things Up. Without further ado, here's Benny.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
We are on episode 21.
Oh, it's got the key to the door.
Yes.
Oh, isn't it good?
So, Kate, have you got X-ray vision yet?
I haven't got X-ray vision yet. I'm really upset. Oh, I'm like, come on, make it worth it. I haven't got X-ray vision yet. Have you got X-ray vision yet?
No, but in some countries they have stopped giving the injection what we had.
Yeah, that's quite what. They're just like, we're just doing it. This is like, everyone's going, stay calm, stay calm. I'm going, okay, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah, but never mind. Hey, we're not.
Hey, we're still here. We feel good. We're fine.
Yeah. So, if anyone would like to buy one of our guests a drink, they can always go to paypal.me/Benny Shakes.
Is it just Benny Shakes? It's not locale X.
No.
That bit.
Paisley Boy says you don't have to have all the
but I love saying X ? Equals locale _GB. It just makes sense. But also that, let's just point out, that's _GB.
Oh, yeah.
Which is quite good tonight.
Who have we got on today?
Well, we have the mastermind and extraordinaire MC and promoter of GNB Comedy.
Yes,
Wallce.
and he's big fans of us and the disabled comedy world. So
I was so glad you paused after disabled. You just went big fans of the disabled and then paused. I was like, no, don't pause there. Disabled comedy world. Yes.
Yeah. Shall we bring him on?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's bring him on.
See, I wondered when there was that pause there. I thought, where the fuck is he going with it?
Okay. So, welcome to Benny Shakes Things Up.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Do you just want to give us a brief outline of what you are about, Kyle? Did we say it was Kyle?
I don't think we actually said your name. Rule number 1. Say the person's name.
It's Kyle.
This is Kyle Wallce, yay!
Yeah, just give us a brief outline of what you do, Kyle.
For purposes of this, I suppose I am the promoter of GNB Comedy, which, as you both know, we just had our 7th birthday the other night.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, yeah, 7 years. I'm still a little bit gobsmacked that this has gone on for 7 years. It was never intended to go on for 7 years. But here we are, and as you know, we do online shows every Tuesday night. In normal times, we had 3 different venues across London, and we did 3 shows a week.
Wow.
And yeah, but of course, you know, zombie apocalypse happened, and we had to move online, which, you know, both of you have gigged with us. Other than that, my day job, as it were, is a magician. Before that, I've been a writer, a scuba diving instructor.
You've been everything.
Yeah, I've been around the block a few times, let's say.
Well, you said that, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is a video. You can see me, can't you?
Yeah. It's all right. Your makeup's fine. Your makeup's
I mean, you say that. Do you know something? In 20 years, I haven't had a spot, and I got a spot the other day. 20 years I've gone without a single spot, and I got one the other day before doing this. This is you.
It's my fault. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, just blame the disabled people. We all get the blame.
You're the
well, I brought you on because I think it was in the summer I was getting your name mentioned to me quite a bit. You need to email Kyle Wallce and get on his gig, and I weren't too sure about Zoom gigs at first, and then you saw me at a Laugh Able gig for Rosie Jones, and then Mark said, "Oh, Kyle loves you," blah blah blah. And that's how we met.
You were brilliant that night.
Yeah.
You were so good that night.
And you guys in London were allowed to gig. And Mark's always, and Kate have always said, you always try and get at least one or two disabled artists on your lineup. Now, I've been doing comedy now for 2 years. I've never been on a lineup in real life with another disabled person. I have once in York, but we won't mention that one. But normally, I'm the only disabled artist at a gig and one female. I just want to know, is it different in London? Is there more disabled artists, or?
I think it depends what kind of bill you're talking about. If you're talking about an open mic bill, it's easier to have a greater sense of diversity on an open mic bill because by their very nature there are more acts on the bill. So you know if you've got a pro bill, there are far fewer people on it. So it's the quite often the diversity of those bills can be, you know, the woman might be considered the diverse person on the bill. But the thing is, because the open mic lineups have the capacity to be much more diverse, the thing is, as a promoter, you have to then consciously make them diverse.
Yeah.
You can't just say, oh well, look, you know, there is plenty to choose from in London, and as a promoter you just sit there and do your admin and let people take the spots and fill out the spots. I in the whole booking process, and as you know, if you've been in Comedy Collective enough times, you'll have seen me slagged off for this. I have a very, for our live gigs, when the live gigs are going, I have a very particular set of rules for how to book a spot. And one of them is you have to give me 3 preferred dates. Now there is a reason behind this, and it's not just to be sort of like uppity. It's what I do with those. It's not just to find, oh right, this one works for you. It's it's those 3 preferred dates is so that I can, with that, I can create I've got the space to create the diverse lineups. And not just that, I've also, it gives me the luxury to look at that act's experience and style and put them on the right lineup for their experience, their style, the kind of thing they do. So those, it's that little luxury of asking somebody for 3 dates that they can do. And then what I do is I pick the right date out of those 3 that will allow me to be able to create a diverse bill. But you have to consciously do it. They don't create themselves.
I think that's if I ever get a gig off the line, I think I would do it that way as well. So
Yeah.
I agree, because then you can get the ratios perfect. Go on, Kate.
I was going to say, and they are really fun nights because I've done the online and in person with you, Kyle, and they are really, really fun. They feel like it's weird. They feel like they've got a through line, even though everyone's doing different stuff. There's like, it feels like, and there's momentum, and it feels very carefully curated. It's brilliant.
Well, I mean, they are. I mean, I take quite a while to once I've got the people for the lineup. I then take quite a while working, swapping around, and well, you've been to the live gigs. You've not been to any of our live gigs, Benny, have you?
No.
On the live gigs, we have this big roller banner thing on the stage, and laminated A4 pictures of all the acts with their name and either their Twitter or Instagram handles, and everybody has one of these A4 pictures. And so these are up on this big board thing in the order of the lineup. So every night when I get to I'll either do it at home or at the venue, and I'm sitting with these things, and I'll move them about and I'll be putting them backwards and forwards so that I can find that nice arc of energy and style, so that momentum keeps going. Because for an open mic night, when you've got quite a few people on the lineup, you've got to be able to curate it properly. Otherwise, you start to lose your audience.
Yeah, I agree. Because before the lockdown, most of my friends who I gig with say, I'm not going on before you. No way. No, after you. I'm not going after you. Why? Because you just drain the audience, and it's not fair. I said,
I wouldn't say it's not fair, Billy, but you are brilliant.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to go after them, quite frankly. But...
No, I wouldn't.
It is good. It is good.
But once again, that's if you were on a live lineup, it would be quite a task to find the right person to go on after you.
Yeah.
And there are people that would absolutely smash it after you. Like if I was somebody to put an act on after you, I'd probably put a character act on after you.
Yeah.
Somebody that however much you've smashed it won't get into their head the same, and they can maybe react in character and all the rest of it to what the energy you've created in the room.
Yeah, it's crazy. So these 3 venues you've got now, I've never seen them before. Are they accessible for disabled people?
For 2 of them, we have rope ladders that we drop down. We've hoisted Kate up on one of them. So no.
No.
I was genuinely going, Do I just not remember that? Back going out. So I don't remember that. Anyway, carry on.
No, unfortunately not. And this is one of those things. During the summer just gone, I went out because there is a good chance we may have permanently lost one of our venues. So so during the summer I went out and started looking. You know, when we had that brief hiatus where we were allowed to say hello to people in the street, and I went out and started looking for other venues, and this was one of the main things I had in mind with this, because I wanted a venue that was completely disabled access. And I was at a complete loss. I saw 12 venues, not one of them.
Because you're quite particular as well. It can't just be like at the back of a pub somewhere. It has to be sort of a separate room, doesn't it? I know you've said that to me before.
Yeah, I mean, that part of the reason is going to be, I mean, the whole back of a pub thing just doesn't work. It really doesn't work, and also it's one of those kind of things that you, if you get the drunks, will then feel free to wander in and heckle and all the rest of it. It has to be a separate room, and I don't just mean I kind of it's through there. I like a bit of distance from the main bar. The bell was great, but you know, that was quite a treacherous flight of stairs up there to the bell. But the bell was wonderful. The guys who ran the bell could not have been more supportive.
Is that East London?
The bell was literally in the city. The nearest one that we have to being disabled access is Arch 1. And I think that has 3 steps down into the club. But that's the nearest we have. But as I say, trying to find a venue that, and I have to put my hands up here, until I started properly hunting for a disabled access venue, I didn't realize just how bad it was. And it really it was a bit of a wake up call thing for me. So I'm now determined I'm going to get one that has proper disabled access, and there is a chance I may have found one.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. Well, I don't want to say too much and jinx it, but there is a chance. We've had venues in the past that were you know, like access, you know, like really good access, but for various reasons that, you know, we didn't continue with them.
Well, that comes to the next question. Do you think everyone's got used to these online Zoom gigs? Do you think promoters, they shouldn't go back to normal gigs as normal? I personally think that you could have a camera in your venue and still sell tickets as well for a Zoom audience as well. Would that work or not?
It's funny you say this. The venue at Arch 1, we must be going back about 4.5 years now. We actually did a live streamed gig. This was, you know, before COVID and all the rest of it. We did a live stream gig from Arch 1. Now Arch 1 is a music venue. It's a jazz venue and all the rest of it. And Rob, who owns the venue, is so hugely respected within every industry within the arts, but particularly within the music industry. So we did a live stream gig, and it's all fitted. Arch One's all fitted with live stream cameras and all the rest of it. And we thought, right, let's just test how this would go. We had 7,500 people logging in.
Really?
Yeah. Globally. I know. So 7,500 people logged in from all over the world for this one gig. Unfortunately, the club was flooded shortly after that, and the place was completely destroyed in a flood. And the venue was I mean, it was literally within 7 minutes the place was in 3 foot of water, and the club was closed for several months and had to be completely gutted, renovated, and all the rest of it. And by the time we went back, the platform that we were going to be doing the live streaming on had changed, and the regulations of how it was done had all changed. But it's always been on the back burner. And our thinking behind it was, how we were going to do it was is just have a little button that you could click that you donate £1. That's all. Just a little click, donate £1, because we figured if you've got 7,000 people, we didn't reckon this. We probably weren't going to get that many each time. But even if you got sort of like 500 or 1,000 people from all over the world, if just 10% of did this, it meant we could pay some decent headliners, which would get more viewers, which would get more attentions, which would get up. And this was what we were thinking with it, so we could get some a kind of decent turnover with this. And this was always our aim with Arch One to do live stream gigs way before everybody started doing them with COVID. So what the intention is after, once we all go back live, I'm going to keep doing the GNB ones. Yes. And we're going to have a monthly GNB one, and we'll just call it something like GNB International, because it's like from people can log into it acts wise from all over. On most nights at the Tuesday nights, we have at least one act that's from outside the UK. Yeah. And usually 2 or 3 people, audience that are logging in from outside the UK. So it gives it, I mean, I would never have had the chance to have you, Benny, on.
I know. Well, I've met so many amazing people on my journey. A year ago, next week, is it, Kate? Lockdown?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant a year ago next week since you started comedy. I'm going, Benny. No, I don't know.
Lockdown starting next.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A year ago next week.
Yeah. Well, it was. I know it was a year ago next week because it was our birthday, our 6th birthday, obviously, and we did our 6th birthday at Arch One on the Wednesday. We did the LGBT night at the Bell on the Thursday, and that was it. Those were the last live gigs we did.
Yeah.
So yes, it would have been a year ago. And this is the much as we all miss doing live gigs, and we're all desperate to get back to doing live gigs. Yeah. There is something good has come out of these Zoom gigs, and it's, as I say, I get to see and meet people like you, Benny, and there's I would say maybe there's maybe a dozen or 20 other acts that I've got to see that now perform at GNB that I wouldn't have come across because they're not in London. So I'm loving that. But the other thing about it is there are some acts who have truly blossomed. I mean, Kate, Roger. I
was going to say, you're going to mention Roger, because I would definitely say Roger. Yes. Yes.
Have you ever seen an audience laugh like that.
I've never seen an audience laugh like that. It was absolutely immense. They were just like, so. I actually recorded it for him because he asked me to do his recording for him, and he was going, were they laughing? I was like, yes, like really, 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 like you could not hear.
Do you mean Roger with the crocodile and the...
Yeah.
Yes, loved it. Loved it.
Well, the one that he did for the birthday the other night, he's added to that, and there's an alien abduction. I've never seen an act where the audience, and there was about 60 people in the audience on Tuesday, where the audience is literally begging for mercy. There was people were in tears. So they said, "Oh God, no, there's more." And it was,
someone was like, "Oh no, make it stay." It's just like, it was just absolutely brilliant.
And that's simply because, and there's several other people, maybe not to quite the extreme of Roger, but Roger has taken the set. I mean, he had a decent live set, but what he's done is he's taken the whole virtual thing and run with it, and what he's ended up with is quite simply one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And there are various other acts like Mad Ron, who's got this like the porn drop, and it's so there are some people who, and I feel sorry for the acts that I've done. Oh no, I don't really. It's the Zoom not for me. And you're thinking, well, then really what you're saying is I don't ever want to progress this further than a hobby, because the idea that you can only do just the right kind of gig is not realistic. No, and there's a lot to gain from Zoom gigs.
I want this to be my life. I want enough money so that I can buy my mum and dad a bungalow and say, there you go, get out of the council shithole. There's a bungalow, you're comfortable.
That's all. That is such a sweet answer. That's such a sweet thing. I was like,
that's just so sweet. I bet his parents are dead in a freezer.
We've got some comments here. What does Mark say, Kate?
Mark McKean says that, thank you, Kyle, for supporting disabled comedians. It gives them an outlet, especially during these strange times. And I'm not going to do his accent.
Was that Liverpudlian Mark?
Yes.
Yeah. He said to me a few weeks ago, I tried YouTube and they wanted my driving license. I'm like, what? So it looks like he's got on. Jamie says, yes, could have 3 buttons, £1, £3, or £5.
Well, actually, here's the thing that we thought about that, but actually the reason we wanted to make it £1 is so you don't think about it. And if you have the 1, 3, and the 5, there is a moment of decision that has to be made, and actually that moment of decision we wanted eradicated. If it's just £1 and you're really enjoying it, if it's just £1, you'll click £1. And if you've really, really enjoyed it, you might click £1 a few times. But it's the fact that if it's just £1, you do not think about it. And if you're getting the kind of mass audience that we got for the original one, then actually all we needed was like 10% of that audience, and we could afford to sort of like pay all the acts and get some decent headliners and all that kind of thing. And as I say, it was all about removing the decision.
You've just maybe we should do that with this, because we've got a £5 one. So if anyone wants to give Kyle a £5, maybe we should make that £1 and we might get some money.
No, I think I think a fiver. The only reason we were thinking of doing it is it was £1 because we were quite shocked by how many we got doing it through the Arch One and his music connections, and because it's international, and because it was a way bigger audience, we just thought, right, actually we can afford to just make it £1. If you've got a smaller audience, you don't want to. If you've only got sort of like between 30 and 50 people going on, you don't want to encourage them to pay £1.
No, you want more.
Oh.
I mean, I'm quite famous. Have you heard of Clapper?
Clapper.
Yeah.
I've known a few slappers, but I don't. And have indeed in my time been caught it a few times.
No, Clapper is a new, it's like TikTok, but
I'm 105 years old.
yeah, but surely you would be great on Clapper because you can do a 3-minute video and surely you could get a 3-minute magic trick out.
I now that you're saying this, I have an odd feeling Brian may have mentioned this recently.
You've got to do.
I should check it out. As soon as somebody pairs something, said, "Oh, it's a bit like TikTok," I literally want to swallow the barrel of a gun. And
So I've got 1900 followers.
Get you.
And do you know what I'm doing? Making dinner.
See, this is why I hate TikTok. This is why there needs to be a culling of people in the world. TikTok should just blow up one day and kill everybody who's online watching it. It will be a better world without it.
This is America.
Insight none of you needed to see. I do apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. We are going to do something now. You wanted to know what other shows we do. Well, we do Below the Belt, where it's a disability awareness show. It's all right. I won't ask you to open a bag of crisps with oven gloves, because
I've got oven gloves.
But one game I really love, and I think Jamie's come to several of your GNB nights now. He uses a communication aid called a AAC user. And he uses symbols to tell you a sentence. So I want you and the audience, what is he saying? I can't tell you the answer for this one.
Okay.
But I might be able to do another one in a minute.
Okay. He's Jesus and he wants a game of table tennis.
No.
Okay. But am I on the right track with the stigmata?
No, nowhere near.
Okay.
I can tell you the first,
not Messiah, and he's not a very naughty boy. Okay.
the first one is I. No, Is it? No.
I don't know. It looks like Expelliarmus, the first
No,
one.
it's can. Yeah.
I haven't a fucking clue.
Right. Well, we'll leave that one.
You can't tell me what it is.
You can't tell him what it is.
No, I'll tell you after the show because that one is staying in. But if you don't get this, then you're not.
Do you get the point of a quiz, Benny?
I will tell the answer another time.
Right.
You must know what this one is.
Right. This looks like a grinder profile.
The first word is sex.
Yeah. Sex and drugs and rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you get in.
I want to know what that first one was.
I will tell you after the show. I'm going to use this for the audience. If they get it right, they can come on a live show, even if they're not comedians or disabled people. They can choose what show they come on. And Kyle,
You have got to tell me after the show this, because this will haunt me.
I will tell you after the show. Yeah, cool. So how did you get into magic then? We've done all the disabled questions. It's your night now.
I got into magic from being a spiteful child.
All right, okay.
It's every magician has a very similar story about how they got into magic, and it usually starts off with they get a magic kit when they were a kid, and that inspired them to be a magician and all the rest of it. And it's all very nice, and it's quite a kind of romantic idea of it. That's not how I started, although it is, but a more spiteful version of that.
Yeah.
And I used to spend as a little kid. I used to spend the weekends with my great aunt and uncle, and my great aunt had this wonderful thing where on a Saturday we'd go out every Saturday afternoon, and wherever we went to for a day trip, the first place we would go would be a bookshop, and I would get whatever book I wanted. And what she would then do is when I came back the following weekend, she would test me on the book, see that I'd read it and understood it and all the rest of it. And so long as I had read the book and understood it, I could get a toy of my choice when we went out. And this was a great way of kind of bribing a kid into a love of literature. Anyway, this one Saturday afternoon, got my book and all the rest of it, and we went, I remember this so well, we went to Woolworths. And
I used to work out Woolworths.
I miss Woolworths. I love Woolworths.
I do.
So we went to Woolworths, and here was this kind of traditional magic box, the box with magic tricks in it. And on the back it's got all the tricks, and it's got the usual thing of the magician pulling a rabbit out the hat kind of thing in the front of it. Anyway, I've taken this box and I've said, this is what I want. And my aunt says to me, no, you can't have that one. And anyway, I threw this tantrum. I mean, I threw this. I should have been slapped into the middle of next week. And I threw this tantrum. I said, no, I want this box. She says, no, you can't have this box. This is, and I was having none of it. And I started screaming and shouting and throwing a tantrum. Anyway, my aunt thought, right, okay, you're going to learn a lesson, and took the box to the checkout, and I saw them passing strange glances at the checkout, but thought nothing of it. Got back home and discovered that this was a display box. There was nothing in it.
Oh no.
So my aunt had thought this was going to be one of those, learning moments. And on the back of the box, it told you what every trick was and what it did, but obviously not how it did it.
Yeah.
She was determined I was going to apologize and I was going to learn my lesson, but I was determined I wasn't. So the next week, what we did when we went to the bookshop is I asked for a book on magic, and I learned how to do all the tricks that were in that magic kit, so that I didn't need to apologize for throwing the tantrum.
Oh, you.
Brilliant.
It's a disgusting story, isn't it? Really, it's a horrible. I think I'm blushing. I haven't told you that. I shouldn't have told you. But yeah, that's how I end up getting into magic, but more importantly, how I got into the. I don't know if you can see from here. Hold on, I'll show you.
Oh, we're going for a walk.
This is part of my library of magic.
Wow.
Everywhere.
We've never had
of books on magic and the history of magic and all the rest of it. So, and that's where all that started. That one weekend started my fascination for the history of magic and all the kind of technical side of it. So yeah, that's where it all began, with a tantrum in Woolworths.
Because you said in your bio you performed for disabled people, or did I read that wrong?
Say that again?
It's all right. I've read that wrong, I think.
I thought you said there you've made for disabled people, and I thought
you used to go around doing tricks for disabled people.
One of the things I used to do, and this was something I oh God, I loved doing this. A friend of mine worked at the Mildmay AIDS Hospice for children.
All right.
And every Christmas, on Christmas Day, I'd go along and with Santa from Harrods, and I would do a magic show on Christmas Day. It's at 3 o'clock Christmas afternoon at the Mildmay AIDS Hospice for kids. And for years I did a magic show there on Christmas Day, and it was the first year I did it. I was nervous, in that, and this sounds incredibly selfish. I was nervous that it was going to completely fuck up my Christmas, in that I was going to come away from this feeling like really depressed, and and then I was going to friends and I was going to fuck up there, and I know how selfish that sounds, and actually it was one of the most beautiful and incredible experiences of my life, to the point that I looked forward every year to going to do it. It was the high point of my Christmas, going to do this show. And the thing was, I had to do the exact same show every year. Because the tricks and effects that I did, how we closed the show, was I did a levitation thing where I got one of the kids out and you levitated them.
Wow.
You could only do it with one kid. So the next year I'd have to do the exact same show, because quite often it'd be the same, a lot of the same kids, and it would have to want, somebody else, they wanted it to be their turn at being levitated in the Christmas show. So one year I changed the show and I got in trouble for it. There was virtually a riot with these kids. They were so pissed off because I dared to change the show that I'd done.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad the place closed, because there was no longer a need for it. But I missed that thing on Christmas Day. It was lovely. But I'm glad there's no need for it now.
Because I know you mentor new comedians, you mentored Kate and that. Have you ever told people magic tricks, or aren't you allowed to do that?
There's a magician whom she's a burlesque act, who's she does an act called Loretta Bondini and Louis Bondini. So she does these burlesque. She does a burlesque show, and it's a mixture of magic and burlesque and all the rest of it. So for a number of years now, I've been teaching her magic and designing shows for her. And at the moment, every Wednesday or Thursday, depending on our schedules, we do a Zoom thing where we go through stuff and redesign stuff. And at the moment, we're working on this levitation thing that she's doing as part of her show, which is how basically her set will end with her levitating and her clothes coming off.
Oh, very interesting.
It's. I mean, to be honest, there are times when before COVID and all the rest of it, there were times when she would be round at my flat and we'd be doing bits on it, and I would be standing there and looking, and I'm thinking, this is wasted on a gay man. this is just completely wasted on a gay man. But yeah, so yes, it's as a magician, it's your duty to mentor young magicians, because it is by its nature a difficult industry to move into. Part of the library that you saw there has taken me 30 plus years to accumulate, and magic books are crazy expensive. I mean, they are just crazy expensive. I got all excited the other day because a book arrived that had cost me 175 quid. And I was so excited for this to arrive. But if you're just starting out, if you're a young magician, you don't have access to funds and libraries to be able to do that degree of studying and all the rest of it. So it is for thousands of years, it has been part of the job, as it were, to mentor other magicians.
Before we go, we've got 10 minutes anyway. Why lockdown, you've lost your job like every other self-employed person. Do you mentor comedians one-to-one?
No, I mean, to be honest, not really, because I'm not a comedian. There are plenty better people out there to seek mentorship in comedy. I mean, what I did do at the beginning of lockdown is I did a workshop called Everything But the Gags, and that was all about the psychology of performance and that vital first 15 seconds that when you go on stage, and how important those first 15 seconds are, that and the Morabian ratio of communication and things like that. So we did a workshop all about that, so that it gave the acts something to work on throughout the whole lockdown. But no, when it comes to writing jokes and stuff like that, I'm lucky to be able to really do to mentor in that shape. I know what from as a promoter. I mean, I've emceed somewhere between 750 and 800 gigs.
Wow.
So I know what works.
Yeah.
I know when somebody's new is starting out, I can nudge them one way or another to help them get the best out of their progression and their early days in comedy.
Yeah, because I've got the biggest gig of my career on Thursday. Fuck knows how I've got the gig, but I'm on with Lost Voice Guy, Joe Coffey, Georgie Moraine, yeah, all the disabled famous people except Rosie Jones, I am with them. And
What day is this?
it's for the industry.
No,
It's
what day is this?
Thursday.
Okay, do you want a spot on Tuesday night to try some material out?
I need only 3 minutes.
Whatever you need.
Yeah, only 3 minutes. Because everyone's got 3 minutes. Because it's 5 agents promoting about disabled comedians for. I assume we're doing it in front of promoters and things like that. So yes, I would love a 3-minute gig. That's all I need.
Then I'll after the show so that's out. Yeah, come and do something just to so that you've got something that you've done a gig recently to be able to test it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Which is brilliant though. But here's the thing, Benny. You've got nothing to worry about.
I don't know how. It's not
right. You don't know how. Do you know something? Kate knows how. I know how. Everybody who's seen you perform knows how.
Yeah.
And eventually there's going to come a point where you will accept that you know how.
Yeah. Anyway, forget about me. It's time now. I've done that again. It's time now to promote. Have you got anything to promote?
Well, we've got over Kate's head here, and indeed Kate slapping away on one of the GNB mugs, which we give away every Tuesday night to deserving audience members. Every Tuesday night, we've got a show on Zoom. The link you can get from either the acts or it's on the GNB page. Next week, we have 2 shows, though. We have got the Tuesday night show, and then we've got our new monthly gig, which is Abandoning the Comfort Zone. Which is I'm looking forward to these. They got 3 months worth got booked up completely within sort of like 48 hours of me putting the post up, and they're really interesting because people are really getting to sort of like stretch what they're doing. So if normally somebody does a character act, they might do pun stuff. If somebody's doing political stuff, they'll do observational stuff. It's just everybody doing something that's the complete opposite is near what they normally do to sort of really stretch your creativity. Our Girl Power Night is the first Tuesday of every month. Our Character Comedy Night, I think, is on the 23rd of this month. I'm surprised that I even remember these dates. I'm quite impressed with myself.
Cool.
So yeah.
Cool.
One other thing. When over during the summer, what we're looking at doing with Arch One, because Rob at Arch One has spent quite a lot of time and money doing up the outside of the club and the gardens outside the club, and he's got sort of gazebos and sort of little mini marquee type things. So the bar, and there's a stage going to be outside. So what we're going to do, hopefully all going well, we will even if we're not allowed to do gigs indoors, hopefully we'll be able to do some gigs outdoors. So we will have live gigs at Arch One, and we're hoping to do maybe 2 a week at Arch One. I mean, Rob did everything he could to get Arch One safe. We had air filtration, medical grade air filtration units put into the club and all the rest of it. But all going well. We will have live gigs outdoors at Arch One this summer.
Cool. Yeah, I'm trying to read the comments. What does Mark say, Kate, about
Mark, Mark says children's hospices shouldn't have to exist, but they provide excellent care. It's both heartwarming and heartbreaking.
Yes, well said.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. Yeah. Oh no, you've got time for your important question. You've got 2 minutes.
My very important high-level journalistic question.
Yeah.
Kyle, I'm doing a poll. What is your favourite biscuit?
Jaffa cake.
Oh, controversial, but we have had that. Good. I'll make a note.
Are you on that? Oh, that doesn't count as a biscuit. Okay.
I don't. Officially it doesn't, but I let it slide. I think it's fine. It's a cake-like biscuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jaffa cake. Jaffa cake, or at the moment Sainsbury's do a really nice chocolate covered ginger. So if
Well, thank you for coming.
That's my level. That's just, what's your favourite biscuit?
hardcore journalism there.
Yes.
I know.
I
So worth
feel
having.
the spot.
I've got a quick one. I keep forgetting to do this. If you was Prime Minister, what would you change or do?
Well, if I was Prime Minister, that would make me Boris Johnson, so I would kill myself.
Right, fair dues.
Oh.
Fair dues.
Was that the direction you were going in?
Funny to me, I would abolish stairs. Abolish stairs. I've got one of them things on the stairs. I forgot what they're called.
Stair lift.
Stair lift. Yeah,
Literally the same word.
yeah. So anyway, thank you for coming on. Don't go away.
I'm not going anywhere. I want to find out what that thing was.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on, and we will see everyone. Well, you'll see Mark next Friday for Below the Belt. Goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid that's all we have time for tonight from Benny and the gang. Please remember to subscribe and click on the bell for more notifications on the next instalment of Benny Shakes Things Up. If you want to support the podcast, or you like the jingle from Leicester in Nottingham, please click on the link below. Adios, amigos.